Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca and welcome back to my Pixel Quest. Welcome back to our blind playthrough of The Return of the Obra Dinn. We're in the very interesting position that we ended the game in the last episode, but we're gonna play it some more. We're gonna hopefully jump back in and try for a different ending. So I'm not sure whether we're clicking continue or rewind, but let's see what happens when we click continue. Oh, we go here? Oh, that's super weird. So that just ends the game again, presumably. This is just going to be the same thing, right? This is just going to be the letter from Jane. So we actually have to rewind. Okay. In that case. The end. All right, so it's the same. All right. So in that case, we do have to rewind. I wasn't sure like whether continue would bring us back to... I'm going to cut through... Okay, I've brought us back to the beginning. Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe continue would take us back to the point before we have the ending, as occurs in some other games. Even another one I'm playing on the channel right now. But it's clearly rewind. I didn't know if maybe rewind was like a way that you could go even further back. I don't know. Anyway, so clearly rewind back onto the ship. No progress will be lost. Thank you. I mean, I know no progress will be lost because, you know, the ending is just the ending, right? There's nothing more there to do or to lock in. It's simply something that plays out. Okay, now this is interesting because I had thought. Let's take a look at this again. Use the pocket watch to determine and identify the fate of everyone aboard. Complete each chapter accurately and return the book by guaranteed post. I was focused on the return the book thing, but actually it probably asks you to complete everything that we can complete here before we finish then. I'm very happy with how this is played out because otherwise I wouldn't have seen that whole different ending. So this is great. This is great. I'm glad this is played out the way it is. The bargain chapter will remain unknown to you. I possess the details within, but have elected to keep them private for now. What's kind of interesting is, like, you know, so I'm not going to go over it again. I've explained to you in past episodes my reason for hanging on all of the fates I haven't put input yet, but also what I think they all are. And so I guess we'll just go ahead with that now and see if that's the one. There's only one other thing I want to check. That may be the way forward, but I also just want to check, has the game, for whatever reason, magically opened up? No, we can't get in. Okay, in that case, I think it must be filling in all of the fates. Alright, I've got myself some tea. Where are we going to start? Where are we going to start here? Obviously a couple of these people will be in the mystery chapter because we haven't even seen their deaths yet. Hamadou. Wei Li. Yeah, let's start with Wei Li. Like we already have his name. Hang on. I don't need to go anywhere. We already have his name. So we just need to think about his death. And I think that's just, I think we know how to think about it. So in the Doom, right to the end. Okay. So, yeah. Well, it seems sort of like, I think we have what we need for this. I think this is just taking a punt at it. And it seems like the trend is torn apart, right? The trend is torn apart. It's torn apart or crushed. It's torn apart or crushed. I mean, both of them, like probably Helmsman here and Whaley, both of them are like being grabbed by the tentacles, and that's all we see. We didn't even see that in Charles's case, but like we literally heard that he was torn apart. Yeah, I think it's torn. I think we go torn apart. It could be crushed. Torn apart by, most definitely, Beast. Thank you. Now, I am thinking I think we just go Helmsman, right? Like, even this picture, he's got his hand on the wheel. I think we've seen him. He's not in that many memories, but he's in like 3 of them, and in all of them, he's at or near the wheel. He's near the wheel in the sketch. He's holding the wheel in the sketch. I think we do Helmsman. I think look at this Helmsman here. I think we do Helmsman. At this stage, like, because my mindset is different, right? Because I now know there's not any more information forthcoming. So it's what I have here, on the ship and with the memories I have is what I have. So I think this is the Helmsman. Who else is he gonna be? Like there's no items to sort of check. He's not in a hammock. He's not in a you know what? One very quick check. What is your number? Helmsman. Finley Dalton, 17. 17 was not. It's just not an. It's not a number. It's not a. It's a number, but it's not a number that we have in the hammock. Yeah. Yep. It's Helmsman. This got to be the Helmsman. I think this is what we got for you. So Finley Dalton. Meet Finley Dalton. Perhaps everybody. We'll see. And you also, I think, you're in exactly the same situation as Whaley. So I think we go torn apart by Beast. Okay. All right. That's 2. We're going to need another one to get confirmations. Who am I next? Is there anyone I'm also comfortable to go ahead with? Philip Dahl isn't dead yet. Steward. The second mate steward. Second mate's freaking steward. Look. I think I'm very comfortable. With, hang on, second mate steward is calling. This guy is second mate steward. He's with the second mate everywhere, constantly. He conspires with him. This guy is second mate steward. It's fine. Nothing else is forthcoming about this guy, right? Like this gotta be this gotta be him. I don't know. It's again like learning that there's there's no more forthcoming sort of information. There's nothing else I'm going to learn in the other chapter. Like we need to do this before we get any more information from the other chapter, right? So I think you are Samuel, mate. Bam! I'm not surprised that that's the helmsman, and I'm not surprised that this is second mate steward. Great. And I'm certainly not surprised that's Wei Li, but torn apart. Great. Not great for you. I'm sorry, Wei Li and Finley. There we go. All right, another 3. So, what is next? We're getting up there. We're cleaning them up. We're cleaning them up. Well, with that out of the way, so we've knocked out 3. So, hang on. Other steward, right? Other steward. We got these 3. You're the 4th one. Other steward. Oh. Hang on, though. Hang on. Davy, though, I was thinking... 4th mate. Davy is 4th... Oh. Davy is kid, though, is what I was thinking. Hang on, I think I've realized that I've been coming... Okay, I think I've realized I've been coming at this identity from 2 different directions in different spaces. Okay. Hang on. When I see 4th mate steward, I've been thinking that's kid. And I've even attributed like kid. I've been thinking, what I've been thinking in my head is kid is Davy. Little old kid might be the 4th mate steward because he's literally with the 4th mate. I think in every instance except like the escape. That's the only one, and that's because he's escaping with the people he's escaping with. He's not escaping with 4th mate then. But I think in literally every other instance, I think he's with the 4th mate. Now I realise that so that's one direction with which my mind has been colliding with that identity and going, yeah, look at him. He's standing next to, most likely Davy. Most likely this is little Davy. But I've been in an entirely different way. Thinking these are the 4 stewards. And so I think I'm realizing that I've been thinking about the same identity in 2 totally different ways, and it can't be 2 different people. so like my reason for putting you as the next, I wasn't so much thinking 4th mate steward for this guy or even Davy. I was just going, these are the 4 stewards with 3 of them knocked out. We do the fourth steward, the next one, the leftover. I was more thinking of this guy as leftover steward. So, oh, sorry, hitting the microphone. You're not Captain Steward, but Zungi? Are you Zungi? Are you from India? Surely kid is not from... I mean, I guess. I know it's a little hard. It's a little hard to make a big call on that, but like, are you Zungi? Are you Zungi? I'm more inclined to think you're Davy, and the thing is, I have a reason for thinking you're Davy. You stick pretty close to the fourth mate. I didn't really know what to make of this relationship for a lot of the game, but like, you know, it's not his son. Like way back at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, this is, you know, this is a family who was escaping. This is a mother, you know, in the escape, on the escape boat. There's a family who's escaping. This is their child. There's a mother. There's a husband and a daughter. That was beginning of the game thoughts, and I put a lot of that away because I just went, you know, I'm going to focus on the other things going on the ship. Like we will get more information about this family at some stage. Obviously, then I had the realization that, you know, one of the men I was thinking was the father was Paul, the steward. the ship, you know, the first mate steward. One of the other men I was thinking was the father was Henry. And so they were separate people. It was just a memory, like a long forgotten memory I hadn't revisited until that moment. So, you know, I'm just sort of going, okay, this whole idea that there's this family on board is not it's broken apart. And so, you know, slowly, I'm like, well, everywhere we see this kid, I don't know who he is, but like, you can't deny he's constantly with the fourth mate. He's constantly with the fourth mate. I think you're more Davy than you are Zungi. I don't have a lot of reason for it. I mean, you're a steward. You know, there's 2 stewards left over. There's 2 steward identities, and I think that the constant you know, knowing that there's no other information forthcoming, I think I can go, yeah, all right. The relationship here is probably enough to say this Davy. I think you're little Davy. Maybe that's why your name is Davy. I mean, anyone any age could be called Davy, but there's something young about it. You know, they'd call the young kid. Are you a kid? Are you an 18 or 19-year-old man? I don't know. I kind of think you're a kid. I think you're younger. I think you're a teenager. But we actually I can't input that fate yet because I have to have a bit more of a think about it, but I can actually, if we're going with that, are you my mystery steward? Are you my mystery steward, Zungi? You could be. I'm gonna go with that for now. But we need. Okay, so we've got. All right, this kid's fate. I'm sorry if you're not a kid. I'm going to call you a kid. This kid's fate, quite probably Davy. Is surely the same. All right, surely the same as the other women. I'm going to take a look. So we got this letter. I've got it on my phone. I'm just pulling it up. We got this letter. In that ending, the 4 of us that survived the Obra Dinn's terrible ordeal, only 3 remain now, and that's because by the time she's writing this, Henry... Oh, by the way... Well, hang on. Henry... The letter from Jane said that you had died, but she... You know, but that was a year later. So at the time my guy is standing on this ship right now, like he's alive. Of course he's alive because he receives our book. You know, he receives it and he comments on it. He asked me to express, well, he's not going to ask to express anything if he's dead. He's reviewed the book, right? So and it says you're all in Morocco. So you're alive. You're alive in Africa, I think. And that is you would be also in the same situation. Wow. Great. Davy James, little Davy, our buddy Zungi, our good old ship steward Zungi. Man, I was confused about the ship steward. I thought the 4 stewards were all hanging out together. Of course, I didn't think that was that. Again, they're hanging out together in the sketch was enough to call it, but it was kind of my working theory for a very, very long time. Okay. We're getting up there. Martin's not dead, so we can't do Martin. Martin will no doubt die. Martin will no doubt die in the next chapter. So we got Emily, we got Jane. Well, and Philip ain't dead either. So Philip's got to be. Philip's got to be. All right. Emily and Jane. I am thinking, all right, I know I just had this confirmed. So I'm sure that they're all, like, the letter says that they're all in Morocco. We just got Davy confirmed as being in Morocco. It must apply to all of them as well. However, it's just what I'm thinking is, like, I don't know if I'm meant to have that ending to get that information. Or if I can get that information from the game. And what I'm wondering about is, like, could this is presumably their room. Somehow they work out sleeping arrangements. This is presumably their room. But there is nothing going on in here. I don't know, I thought maybe they have a picture of Morocco. No, I don't know. A ticket. I don't know. I'm gonna have one last. What I'm wondering is it possible to have a look in that room in a memory? Or, like, almost certainly not. I think I've even checked this before. Let me have one more look at Abigail's memory. They're only really in two memories, aren't they? Abigail's memory and the escape. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the doors are closed in both, but I would hate to miss it if they're not. Yeah, it's closed. She's wearing a freaking ring. She's wearing a freaking ring. Look, I was 99%. I was 99.9% that I know, you know, like, this is the older married woman. I mean, I literally thought she was, like, married to this guy for a while. And that this was the younger woman. But there's a ring. So that's nice. That's nice. That's the little gift of evidence. That's the little gift of evidence. Well, that's the relationship. That's the evidence for the relationship that I was almost literally 100% on anyway. Where's the door? Let's just go and check the other memory, because if by any chance that other door is actually open in the memory, and maybe it is because it's their escape, right? Like, maybe they've hurried out and I've just missed it the whole time. I mean, it's not gonna matter which one we go into, right? Let's go into Paul for old time's sake.
Last one. Move quick. You'll not take the last one.
It's freaking here as well. I never looked at her hand. Like, most of the time when I was looking at this memory, you know, I would have been just going like, whoa. And I'm looking at, like, her face. I'm looking at the people who are in the boat. I'm looking at who she's reaching out to. But when you stare at it, it's like the tattoo. It's like the tattoo all over again. Like, it actually looks like a huge hand. Sorry, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, it's awesome to have big hands. I don't mean it in any insulting way, though I can imagine a woman from this time taking it that way. That said, she picks up a gun and she freaking murders somebody with it, so she's probably cool. She's probably got a strong sense of identity. Well, all right. I mean, obviously this is interesting, right? Obviously this serves as clear evidence, even though it was pretty well, understood before. Like, it was pretty easy to make this inference. I would say that this is the older woman, that's the miss, but not necessarily, I guess. So it's great to know that this is the evidence for it. However, what I'm really interested in is this relationship. Is this her husband? No, they don't have the same name. Of course, not her husband. It's not her husband, but she's a married woman. Where is her husband? Is he dead? If he's dead, like, look, no judgment here. No judgment. I'm just really curious. Like, this is one of the most interesting this is an interesting romance, and I want to know more about it. I want to understand it. Okay, but indeed, we ain't getting in there. There's no windows. There's no windows. I think that's that. I think that's that. Maybe they just had a little ship romance. Okay. Escape. So we got Emily. And no doubt she is also... Oh, can I just... All right. Just one thing on this before I put it in. One thing on this. If you don't get that ending... Literally, we're in the escape right now. We're in the escape right now. We're here. These are also options. If anything, I would say this is the closest. And surely you would say the Canary Islands are closer than Africa. I don't know exactly where Morocco is along here, somewhere around here, right? But I didn't even know if this was an option, but I know these two are, I'm pretty sure. This is closer. Why wouldn't I assume that they're here? Why wouldn't I assume that they're here? Anyway. Oh. Anyway. We know what we're doing. Emily, lucky for you, you are alive and well in Africa, and I believe yourself, Miss Jane Bird, you are also luckily alive in Africa. Well, thank you, game, for that. Bam, bam, bam. Did we just got two? Why did we just get two? Why did we just get two? Man's not dead yet. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to say, Martin. Philip's not dead yet. I'm sorry, Philip. Okay, well, all right. So we have... maybe if there are... because there are 4 left over, maybe they chunk it into 2 lots of 2. Okay, all right. Can I go from here? Well, we know who you were shot by now. Where are we? Emily, you deserved it, Leonard. And by process of elimination, You... Whoa. Because I was like, why are you not letting me input the... Okay, it's already input, of course. Hamadou. Great. I don't know if there was any evidence pointing to Hamadou, but he's like in so few... Great, there's nothing left to do on the Obra Dinn. So it's... Yep, we know what this is going to be. Extremely exciting. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that points you towards Hamadou, but like, you know, once we're done with this blind playthrough, you guys can let me know all of the things that I missed. So please do. He's just in so few. He's in hardly any memories, and he's silent, and he just kind of really gets spiked. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a process of elimination there, but sorry, I don't know if there's another form of evidence there, but certainly process of elimination, you know, worked out totally fine. All right, well, we gotta see you, William. I guess we headin'. Obra Dinn. I want to hear the rest of your story, please. I desperately want to hear the rest of your story. I'm going to go and get a snack because this is going to be cool. This is going to be interesting. Let's give it a go. I'm back. I did this with you in another sort of space-time.
We should go. Storm's nearly about, so we won't be coming back.
Do we just wait? I can't even hurry this up. We just wait. We have to go through the tension of going, ah!
Finally. Sit down so you don't fall out.
It's kind of patronizing. Like, you know, the guy's literally been on a boat before. He had to come at least on this trip out here. Or maybe we were just lost in thought. We were like, you know, like, my guy is doing exactly what I'm doing, and he's just like, what about the other fates? What's going to happen with the bargain chapter? Is this how I trigger getting the bargain chapter? And we were just lost in thought, and the guy's like, I gotta leave, dude. Sit the freaking hell down. Okay, so we won't go through this in full. Like, it's going to be almost entirely the same as what we had before, but with a couple of extra additions. Finley Dalton, torn apart by Beast, he got 30. Emily Jackson, murder of crewmate, yes she did. Good on her. Abandonment of crew and vessel, she was fined. I'm sure she could afford it. She's got money if she's on this ship, surely. Jane, abandonment of crew, murdered nobody, she was fined 10. So the difference between 10 and 35, that's what murder gets you. That's the cost of murder. And then we have added Zungi. He was awarded 35. And Philip Dahl remains unknown. Davy James, abandonment of crew and vessel, no claim made. Interesting. And was that all we have added this time around? Hamadou spiked, exceptional performance of duties, donated pension fund 25. Okay, I guess we're doing it. Ba-bam. remains in your possession. What if I wasn't meant to fill in... I actually can't remember if Henry got confirmed now. God, that's so good. I'm so glad I got to see that again. It's one of the best bits in the whole game. Just really, really well done for the rhythm of it. 1 year later. Will this... Is this going to play out the same?
Oh, goodness. What a nice thing. You know, you shouldn't be out in it then. Right, well, get yourself home then. And tell Martha I said hello.
Okay, I heard that a lot better this time.
Can you believe it? A package at this hour? Oh, the thing smells just dreadful.
Oh.
You don't open it inside.
Shell?
I'll be turning in now. Tea's in the kitchen if you need more.
What smells dreadful? Oh, we got a package this time. Is it going to have a shell in it? I mean, I can't remember if the thing that we looked at before, like the sort of the telegram, also had this glow around it, or is this glow unique to this package? Let's open it up. Let's open it up. What do we got inside? Sounds heavy. Well, all right. Still from Jane Bird. Chief Inspector, I write to you with the unfortunate news that Dr. Evans has passed away. He succumbed to his illness still shortly after receiving your package. He was very pleased with your correspondence and asked that his gratitude be expressed by returning that book to you, along with the means to complete it. Yes! As for the three of us that remain, the Obra Dinn is a distant memory and a dreadful chapter in our lives that we wish to forget. Do not write back. It's interesting that she added that last bit at the end. Just to, like, she expressed a different kind of sentiment in this version of events. Do not write back. Regards, Jane Bird. Still very polite. How interesting. All right. The means to complete it now is very interesting. Because what I'm thinking is, you know, for the whole rest of the other chapters, we were present on the ship. We were there. Surely we're not going back to the ship again. Or are we going back to the ship in a magical way? So there's the... Maybe we are going back to the ship in a magical way. There's the book, there's the letter. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? It's a claw? It's a cut off hand with 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 fingers and a thumb, but it doesn't look human. This is a claw. I mean, presumably the mirror people had claws, but like... So this is our... Right, cool. That makes sense. This is our body part that is going to send us back in. Well, let's just have a look at the book right now. Has anything been added to it? This tale belongs to you now. Please finish it. H.E. All this is the same then. What if we jump across here? Have you added anything? As it was. Oh, sorry, this has 5 parts. I was saying 4. So, but there's only room on the thing at the end for 2 more lines. But there's 5 parts. So Is that going to mean that there's some other things that die, like non-humans? No, but even... Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because those fate... They don't... Yeah, because they would count as parts, but they wouldn't count as fates. It must be. It must be. And so one of them, probably, this one, in the lazarette, will be represented here.
There you are. Collect your things. Where's the key? To that door. Gone. Damn. There's no time. We need to go. Right. Here you go. What are you up to? Nothing good.
Huh. What on earth? Oh, there was Oh, we're in the lazarette. I understand. And we're in the lazarette. Hang on. Well, this is a very interesting turn of events. Henry. Henry said, no, you freaking don't. This is Martin. Martin. All right, and that's the fish. So Henry says that fish gets it. How did he get its claw? Oh, how exciting. That looked very hairy. In the lazarette, no! It's a monkey paw! A monkey paw? Do you mean a monkey paw or do you mean a monkey paw? If you know what I mean. Like, do you mean the paw? What? Hang on. No, I thought it was wretched fish. Monkey. Monkey? Poor monkey. A friendly but not entirely pleasant monkey companion was sacrificed in the pursuit of knowledge. What? What? What do you mean? Why was the monkey sacrificed in the pursuit of knowledge? There you are, collect your things. I'm going to have to listen to this again. There you are, collect your things. Where is the key? To that door? Gone. Damn. There's no time, we need to go. Right, in you go. What are you up to? Nothing good. So none of this is the well, the monkey is the victim in this case, yeah. Not Martin yet. So. Ah. All right. So the question for me is, well, one of the many questions for me is, at this stage, how much does Henry know about this magic watch? And does he, oh my God, does he sacrifice the monkey specifically? Oh, poor monkey, I'm so sorry. Oh, this is a sad one. I can't even look. Does he sacrifice the monkey specifically? Ah. Uh-huh. Hang on. Hang on. Just get out of the way, Henry. No, Henry. Hang on. There we go. Yeah. Paul. Interesting. And definitely Martin, yeah? Martin's been spiked. Right, so we've got... I think we can put that one in now. Martin's been spiked. The question that I'm asking myself is the reason that the... Oh, and there's a whole person here. Hello. In the chest. Okay, I got to finish this thought. There's a lot going on right now. What I'm wondering is the reason that Henry is sacrificing the monkey is to have a paw that can send me back here to this memory. Is he kind of planting a seed? Because otherwise he would have to, like, if he wants to give me access to this in the future, he would have to take something from Martin. I mean, I don't think that's the monkey's problem, honestly, Henry. but maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe that's what he's doing to sort of continue to get access to things. Now it looks like someone has tried to stab the creature in there. Obviously this door remains open and it's just a tank of water. In here we see the swirl. The drawer is closed and this is Philip. However, what's going on? What is this next to Philip? Or his arm has been burned? Is that what it is? Hang on. It's like, it looks like a fork. But it's coming from, I was just following the body parts and I was like, that must be his arm. His arm has been burned because he was reaching into this thing. Just go ahead. I have so much more I need to look at here. So much more. Okay, so death one, monkey. Therefore not a fate.
A third shell. Captain didn't toss them all.
Leave it. Help me lift this.
Stop! Why?
Well, thank you for
Oh no.
Give it the shell. Eh? Do it. Hoist it out. To the main deck. Throw it over. Lock the door when you leave.
Is this the captain then?
Get the tail, boy.
Wow.
In return, the ship. The Obra Dinn. See it home.
Wow, that was incredible. So that appears to be the bargain. Yeah. So they said return the shell to her or him, to them. And they were carrying they hoisted the fish out. The fish, I keep saying. They hoisted, I don't know, the beast, the mer person, let's say. They've hoisted the mer person out. They're carrying, all right. It's a huge, well, I'm wondering if it's a huge guess on their part to even try this. Or do they actually have some information that this is what they should do? Guess what? I'm pretty sure I know about Martin's fate. Yeah. Dang. A third shell. Captain didn't toss them all. Oh, there we go. I forgot about that line. Captain didn't toss them all. So Captain did toss probably 2 shells though. Leave it. Help me lift this. Stop, wait, where to set you free. Give it the shell. Okay. So they are speaking, so it's alive. And they're speaking to the creature. Give it the shell. Hey, do it. Hoist it out to the main deck. Throw it over. Lock the door when you leave. Lock this door to the lazarette. Get the tail, boy. In return, the ship, the Obra Dinn, see it home. So leave it, help me lift this. Stop, wait, where to set you free. I'm going to have to listen again, but is this where he actually gets spiked? And then he says, give it the shell, despite being spiked. Do it, hoist it, and he gives them instructions and continues to make the bargain. Maybe this is indeed the bargain, and Martin is the one. Yeah, I wonder if this is just a last ditch sort of effort, like a kind of a guess that this might be the way to stop the horrors that have been going on the ship on his part, or has he been given some information that actually this might be the thing to do? That's super interesting. I haven't even had time to like look around properly yet. So we can't see much out there. Philip's already gone at this stage. This is not Zungi, but Davy. And this is Paul. Paul is helping out. So indeed, the map. Aha! So this will be one of the other non-fate, I mean, it's a fate, obviously, but not a fate. Non-fate parts. So this one will get stabbed, I think. Philip? Oh, it's Captain. Captain, you're going about all of this the wrong way. I think you're making them angrier. Ah. This music. Ooh. He gets the shell. Hang on, where's his arm? Where's his arm? Huh. In the lazarette, a captured beast fought against its jailer and was speared for the trouble. So the captain is just overcome with anger. Abigail's gone. His ship is, his ship and his crew is in, ruins. And he just comes down to be angry. Like he comes down to be angry, but also thinks like, I'll just kill them, And maybe that's what he legit thinks might be the best way of tackling this, or otherwise, he's just emotionally compromised. And this is all he's got in him is just pure rage. Wow, what a moment. Unexpected, because, as I've said, for most of this, I suspected that the captain was the one to make the bargain. The captain certainly put something on the table. I mean, you could call this a bargain, but it's not a bargain that is taken. It's an offering, isn't it? I'll kill every last one of you monsters, withdraw the Kraken, or I'll kill you all. But it's not a bargain that is taken up. Amazing. Ooh, the watch is caught up in the light of the shell. Can we get these two circles aligned? Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so this will be Philip reaching in there to pull out the shell. Wow. So does he do that? Maybe the information that they get comes from Philip. Philip does seem to be knowledgeable. I don't know if he's just very cautious and suspicious or has actual knowledge and wisdom before all of this happens, but he knows that we should have no bar of any of this stuff with the shells and the fish, and that they should be tossed overboard. So maybe Philip is the one who kind of gives this knowledge to, to Henry, and maybe even to Martin. The captain, I don't know. Maybe he hears it, but he doesn't hear it. Ah, another one.
Call it off, damn you! This is your Kraken! You brought it here! Send it back!
There we go. So he shoots this one. Just more of the captain's rage. Can't see much out there. And the hatch isn't open yet. So I guess that's that. Yeah, Philip's arm is all completely burned to a crisp there. So does he just sort of sacrifice himself to get the shell, to try and right things? An unholy creature's defiant shrieks were greeted with a fatal bullet. Wow, well, there's been an awful lot of non-human death in this chapter. Part 1 is the last one that remains. And we know who it's going to be. Oh, right there. It didn't take us on a journey of any kind. So he must be opening...
What's this? Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
Herre min Gud.
Oh, Philip. Poor Philip. What? Philip, my man. What has led to all of this? You know? Do people really need to reach in with their hand? There are a lot of tools on this ship. Can't you telling me that you don't have a tool to reach in? Really? Man. Oh, this is brutal. No one else was present. Poor Philip. Philip Dahl, Captain Stewart, met an unknown fate. Well, I mean, I'm gonna agree with it, honestly. Like, it's all pretty unknown, isn't it? It's all pretty dang unknown. But I guess we would say burned. Dang. All fate's done. I didn't really mean to complete it, actually. I was just inputting it. Wow. So the skull is satisfied with the fate's completion. Are you happy, Skull? You look pretty happy. You like that? Let me just have a little flip through what we have just witnessed. Here's how I see the events. Like, where we left off. Doom. Philip was already in the lazarette. He'd already been captured. He'd already been shut up in here. What's this? Quicksilver. God in heaven. Like, so I mean, this chapter begins with him reaching in here to take the shell. I wonder, like, is it just because he would have been able to obviously tell the ship is being attacked by a kraken at this stage, and so maybe his motivation is simply like, I knew it, like, we have to do something about this. We have to get rid of this. We have to return the shells. All right, and now the lazarette is open. We can leave. Philip, did you sacrifice yourself because of the doom? It's an odd-shaped, I don't know, flame light. What's also interesting is that when Beng did this, when he reached in and sacrificed himself, all of that light came out and it struck, you know, it struck the mirror people. In this case, yeah, I don't know, it just sort of seems to be kind of coming out. The only part of him that has been burned is his hand, is his arm, as far as I can tell. So it's not as if this has shot out and completely burned him. It just seems like the part he willingly put in there to get the shell has been burned. Other than that, there's no one else outside. If we move to part 2, then Captain is here. He's come down because of the doom as well. And he's like, I've had enough. I'm just gonna stab, stab, angry, angry. My beautiful wife has just been struck in the head by a mast that the beast was obviously, holding. Then this seems to be where we have all of these other people present. Martin's come down. A third shell. Captain didn't toss them all. Now this is interesting. What's the time difference here? So did the captain come down? Obviously, here's how the whole game has worked. We're seeing these moments because there are deaths in these moments. That's why they're visible to us. Because he killed these two creatures, we see these moments. However, it seems to me that most likely, this is how I'm thinking of it right now, most likely he kills them, takes their shells, throws them overboard. Throws the shells overboard as well. Possibly later. I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know why I'm thinking. Obviously, the captain hasn't died here. He's gone back up. Maybe they've had a conversation. And then these guys have come down. Martin, steward. A third shell. Captain didn't toss them all. Leave it. Help me lift this. Stop. Wait. He gets stabbed, I think. Where to set you free? Give it the shell. Eh? Do it. Hoist it out to the main deck. Throw it over. Lock the door when you leave. In return, the ship, the Obra Dinn, see it home. So Martin is much more generous about the whole thing, even though he's just been struck by them. So absolutely amazing, sort of, again, amazing self-sacrifice here by Martin, doing his best to save the ship. What I'm kind of thinking about is, and then we have Martin and Paul, Henry and Paul are getting ready to escape. They're getting ready to begin their escape on the ship with Emily and Jane. And Davy, also Davy. Paul doesn't make it because he eventually gets shot, but otherwise he was planning on going with them. So there you are, collect your things. Where is the key? To that door? Gone. Yeah, you can't get into the lazarette. Damn, there's no time, we need to go. Right, in you go. That's Henry to the freaking monkey. What are you up to? Inquires Paul. Nothing good. Henry knows it. It's horrible what he's doing, but I think he's doing it. Ugh, I don't even want to think about it. It's horrible. It's horrible. Poor monkey. I dedicate this playthrough to Monkey. I think Monkey deserves it. Monkey's the whole reason we're playing this game. Poor Monkey. What I find curious, though, what I'm still thinking about is the fact, so the very first thing that happens here is Philip is alone in the lazarette. you know, the doom has been occurring. I think that's the motivation for Philip to say, we got to get rid of these shells. I got to reach in here and get this shell. But he dies in the process. He dies in the process. Captain, also because of the doom, and I think particularly spurred on by Abigail's death, comes down, angry, need to stop. How dare you? He kills them. They must already have the shell on them, each of these two creatures. And I suppose he must, I don't know, take them and their shells and throw them overboard. I don't know how he does that as one person. I don't know if he has help doing it. Maybe he does have help doing it. But the other question I have is that by this stage, Philip's body is already here, holding onto the shell. I suppose I'm just kind of curious as to why, if the captain does indeed take the shells and or the bodies of the creatures during parts 2 and part 3, or like a little bit after, you know, like 3.5, let's say, why doesn't he also see this quite conspicuous glowing shell here that Philip has obviously lifted out? Why doesn't he already get rid of, why, if he's motivated to get rid of the shells and throw them overboard, why doesn't he see that shell and do the same to them? A third shell, Captain didn't toss them all, which implies the captain did toss the second and the first shell. I don't have an explanation for that, but it's a question I have. Let's see what happens. We're back here. We put the book on the shelf. The good ending, maybe. Sort of. Is there a good ending? There's a better ending. For my dad. That's very sweet. Alright, I think we done it. I think we've done it, everyone. We get to listen to this amazing music again. We get to see all of these incredible people who have put so much work into making this happen. Obviously, especially Lucas Pope, who seems to be, you know, a complete amazo one-man show. And I will be super, super curious from now to, you know, hear everything about you. Hear everything that you guys have wanted to tell me throughout the rest of the game. What I will have done by the time you're listening to this is put a message at the end of the episode prior to this to let you know that you can do that. So, yeah. So I think that's the best way to work this out. I wasn't sure how this game was going to end. You know, if there were going to be bits I'll be sort of recording to add on afterwards. So we'll sort of, you know, we'll still see how all of that unfolds. You will be seeing, no doubt, right now, because if there are bits that I'm adding on to the end of this episode, they will be there. I don't know about them yet, so it's a mystery to me. But Rebecca right now, as I'm recording, is very curious to hear about all of the stuff that you guys want to tell me, the ways in which maybe I, you know, could have done things differently, the things that I've missed, you know, things that you really liked. Let's just throw it out there. Maybe some things I did well. that might also be a part of it. But it's all going to be super fun to hear about. It's all going to be super fun to hear about. So I'll just let you know, like, I'm super looking forward to whatever it is that you want to tell me. It can be things about this playthrough. It could be things that I missed, or, I don't know, other trivia, other tidbits, other facts. It could be things about the development of the game, other facts about the game that are interesting, anything at all. You know, maybe even, like, other, like, some of you have already sort of lightly mentioned that there are some cool videos about the development of this game, and I will definitely be super interested to look at those. But yeah, if there's anything else, I know that I'm actually personally going to be super interested to see some of the other localizations of the game. Like, not play them, but to, you know, to see some videos of them. I think that'll be super cool. Be really interesting to see. Yeah. So anything that you want to tell me. I just noticed that cow skull was there. I didn't see quite the context for it. I just saw the words. You're welcome. Thank you for making the game, and thank all of you for being part of this. I know that this is not going to be the final end to this episode. I know I'm going to be recording some other stuff, so I'll leave this here because I know I'm going to record more sentiments for you. But I am just full of so much love and admiration for this game. I know I'm going to be listening to this soundtrack a lot. I'm going to enjoy listening to this as much as I like now. And I'm going to enjoy looking up a lot of stuff about this game. And I'm going to love hearing everything you guys have to tell me. Maybe, from now, another Rebecca in a more future than where I am now will come in and talk to you. But Rebecca from the current present that I'm in now will sign off. Thank you so much, everybody. Hello, everyone. It is future Rebecca. My coming was foretold by past Rebecca. I'm back on the ship. It's so nice. Oh, hello, everybody. I guess it's a little bit less nice for you, but it's wonderful for me. It's amazing to be back in this game. So, the last episode has been released. You know, I've heard a lot of things from you guys, and obviously I've also just had time myself to sort of like process a few things. So, I thought a few things. One, I can kind of respond to some of your some of the things that you guys have told me. Two, we can actually go and look at some of them, which is cool. And yeah, three, I'll just give you like some of my thoughts after getting to experience this freaking incredible game. The first one that I thought I wanted to try is a comment from Bloody Crow, who said that you can see Henry Evans' pocket watch case he sends to you in the memories with him in the surgery, and on the small boat, you know, in the small boat with the women. So in the escape, I think I can almost picture in my mind, you know, that he might have that with him in Escape. What the one I really want to see is the surgery. So let's do that. Surgery memory is the one of my friend group deaths by the stairs. By the way, hang on, this is a chance to talk about another comment from Descending pointed out that I had forgotten at some point that you actually can. Whoa, check it out. You actually can get over this cannon. I think, you know, like just what would have happened, what often happens is just at some point I would have had trouble getting through here, and then, you know, like just decided you know, that you couldn't, and not like come and tried it again. I would have just like kept not attempting it. But isn't that amazing that you we get a little step there. We even the watch gets a little look out, because we're literally, as we, it's pretty rude. We're stepping over I guess we're constantly stepping over corpses, right? Down one more. I think it's this, because I think that's the first body that would take you to the hammock memory. I think this is the surgery memory. Yes. So, what is it? It is that you can see the pocket watch case. I mean, I guess it's just going to look like a case. However, it's got that big handle on the front of it. That's his little doctor's bag. These all just look like potions. Well, you know, they look like bottles of various things. That's the monk
monkey.
What? Hang on. I didn't know you could see the monkey in this memory. Oh, hello. Oh, playthrough is still dedicated to Monkey. Justice for Monkey. Monkey did nothing. Monkey most likely did nothing. Most likely, but who can say? Who can say? I think this. I think a poor innocent monkey. Actually, I think the game actually says that they're a poor innocent monkey. These all look like books. I'm delighted about seeing Monkey though. Do you have the case up there? That's their tail is coming through. Their tail is coming through the bookshelf. Hilarious. I think these are all books. That's a bucket. That's James. Those are cupboards. That's a bedpan. Ah, there, under the bed. Aha! I can't zoom in on it because it's going to keep zooming in on Henry here. But that's it. That's the case that we open up at the start of the game. That's delightful. Well, this was a 2-for-1. This had a surprise monkey in it as well. Awesome. Thank you so much for that one. Yeah, and also for letting me know that I could indeed step over the cannon. That's delightful. Cool. Thanks, guys. 2 really interesting realizations there. And there was one other thing that I actually wanted to go and look at. Like, I've heard quite a lot of things from people that, you know, like other ways that you can sort of identify people, such as, you know, I think a couple of people, including Crystal of Life, said that you can identify the 4th mate because when you're out in the ocean and you see them looking out the window back on the ship, you can look at which location they're in there. That just never occurred to me. I think because what I was imagining is just something very exciting is happening on the side of the ship. I mean, my God, when you're out on the ocean for however long, that doesn't happen very often, unless you're on this voyage, but it doesn't happen very often usually, and certainly not at this stage in the story. And I just pictured wherever people are on the ship, whatever level they're on, whatever deck they're on, they have just run to look at the nearest window. You know what I mean? So I imagine I wouldn't necessarily think about that. But it's a cool extra little, you know, it's a cool way to do it. What was the other thing that I wanted to do? So quite a lot of people, of course, let's just go right there. Quite a lot of people mentioned that this is how you're sort of meant to identify that the 4 who got on the escape boat were in Morocco. I just have, and like, yeah, cool, you know, absolutely. I sort of, I don't know, like I forgot about this, but I think it's also a case that, like I absolutely did forget about this to a certain degree by the end of the game. But at the same time, look, think about the timeline here, right? So first off, all this says is that, you know, return the book to the French Office Affairs in Morocco. Of course you could say, oh, that's probably where Henry Evans is. But I just wouldn't have assumed that just because these 4 people get on an escape boat together, that, and I'm not saying this is wrong, but I'm just saying this is not how I would imagine things going. I wouldn't assume that just because Henry Evans was in Morocco that the other 3 are in Morocco. I wouldn't assume that the 4 people who left on an escape boat have remained together, especially since I couldn't tell that they had any particular relation to each other at all. Like, that is wild. That's a little bit wild to me. I can imagine it because I guess I can go, you know, look, there could be reasons why the Obra Dinn was lost in 1803. We come onto this ship in fact, let's step back. Let's step back a step. Let's step back a step. We come onto this ship. Let's step back a step. Let's do what I said. The ship returns in 1807, right? Am I wrong about that? The ship itself shows up 5 years after its original disappearance. There's 5 years in between when it disappears. And I guess that we know what the journey looks like now. I was always under the impression that they were headed in the other direction and it got lost on the way back. But I realized, no, this is where they set off, and they only made it basically here. They're close to Morocco. If we're going to say this is close to Morocco, they're close to Morocco the entire journey, like for every memory apart from the first one, right? So they're the entire game, basically, barring the beginning, takes place here. Then, here, this is the end. God knows if anybody was able to have, to send out any letters or anything like that at all on this voyage. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how it works. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe when they were here, maybe they send a little boat out, or they skim past and drop some letters off. I don't know. But let's assume that essentially since 1803, maybe for this, since they left off here, there's been no trace. Like, they never ended up where they were meant to end up. Since 1803, there's been no trace of the Obra Dinn. It was never found. Nobody ever heard about anything that happened on this ship. So all of this, obviously all of the knowledge that we have of it has come from the work of Henry Evans, has come from Henry shooting his monkey, and eventually, the monkey essentially got him access to the knowledge in the lazarette, but him deciding to send us the magic, we'll get into this, the magic pocket watch in the book has come about. I guess that he did that when the Obra Dinn itself was found. The Obra Dinn itself returned, right? That's the whole thing. That's the whole start of the game, I believe, and I may be wrong here. The Obra Dinn itself returned. Whoa, ghost ship, what the hell? That was sort of how we began, right? That was my understanding at the beginning. What's gone on here? 5 years, what's gone on? We find out. At that point, when it returns, I feel like that's essentially when people, Henry knows people are going to be able to come back aboard the ship. He knows an insurance guy is going to do that, or an insurance woman, because I went back and read all of the comments that I haven't read previously on other episodes, and yeah, super interesting detail that you can randomly you can get either a male or a female insurance clerk, whatever we are, insurance clerk. And so I think when the Obra Dinn is found, that's when Henry goes, someone is coming aboard, I've got to send this random person I don't know this book and this magic watch and tell them to, because it's the only way for them to really find out what's gone on, what the story of this ship is. But that was 5 years later, and that's essentially where we are now. I guess, to me, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. Everyone is going to, and there is probably, I'll finish the sentence. I just wouldn't assume that 4 potentially random people, I don't really know what their relationship is, and I don't know who's come with who, right? Maybe the 2 women came together. I don't know. Maybe they all know each other. I don't know. But they could also just be different people who were on board this ship. Maybe the 2 women are just traveling together, or they just happen to be to book passage and they're in the same cabin. I don't know. Maybe they just struck up a friendship, before, or like during this bit. But either way, I just wouldn't assume that people who get together during a disaster in an escape boat will spend the next 5 years, first off, in the same place they land, and secondly, continue to live together or continue to hang out together in that place. It's just not how I would think. So like, that's not an assumption I would make. I have always tended to think like, oh, cool. Like, obviously they get on an escape boat together, they make it somewhere. But then I would sort of assume, I know we're talking about a time when travel is very, very difficult. So I'm sure that that's I know that that's the likely explanation, right? Travel is very, 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 very difficult. But I guess I just wouldn't assume. I mean, I think of these people as people who had long, rich, complex lives before they arrived here. And they're not, as far as I can tell, a family. So I would just think, and also I don't think any of these people are poor. Maybe Davy, but I don't think Henry, I don't know, probably not. He's a doctor. And the two women, probably not to be able to get, on a voyage like this. I would just think, like, wouldn't you be motivated to either continue with whatever life plan you had or to get back to your loved ones or something else? It's just, I'm not saying that, I guess I'm just saying that it seems like that is as likely to me as 4 people deciding to live together forever because they left on the same escape boat and to live exactly where that escape boat took them. Anyway, like, I'm sure everyone is going to have like lots of different opinions on that, and that's completely fine. And I'm sure lots of people are going to have historical explanations for it. Totally get that. We all know I am not an expert on the history of this era or of shipping, and that's how I came into the game with, and I'm leaving with, let's say, a little bit of extra knowledge. Thank you, game. I'm leaving with a little bit of extra knowledge about the difference between a bit and a capstan, I would say, and some other sort of details about ship life at this time, for sure, that I didn't really start off with. Absolutely. But I have not finished an expert. I have not finished an expert historian on this time. But I'm just sort of more thinking about human nature. And yeah, so it's not the assumption that I would have made. But it's very interesting to think about. I do also want to say, I might just move, like, why not? Let's change our setting. I do also want to say, I was thinking, I looked at, the ending again after I finished. And so one of the questions that I had left the bargain chapter with was where... Oh, we're not gonna have it here in this save. No, of course not. Where... So there was the discussion that there were 3 shells. The captain had thrown overboard 2 of them, and one had been left over after the captain left. But that was still during the assault by the Kraken, because it was Martin. It was that next memory after the captain. It was Martin and the others going down there that actually made the bargain, and hence the Kraken sort of left. So all of that was in a fairly short time period. And what I was confused about was, I was under the assumption that the 3rd shell that they must be talking about was the one that was sitting there with Philip, that he had reached down into the chest to retrieve. But I thought about it. I don't know this. I haven't looked anything up really, but I have a new theory now, which is that, so that shell that Philip pulled out in an attempt to get rid of the Kraken, and I guess he never found out if he did or he didn't, because he probably died. He died very quickly after that. But the shell that Philip had sitting on his corpse must have been one of the 2 shells that the captain retrieved, and I guess the captain retrieved another shell from one of the other creatures, and the 3rd shell must have come from it's very obvious it was very obvious to me upon going back to that memory, outside of the moment of like experiencing it, right? Because the shell in question is literally like no, I don't know. I was thinking like the shell is kind of with the extra creature that they found, the extra merperson that they found. But actually, they do say give it to her, or give it to them. I can't remember. So yeah, that's a little bit more of a question for me. But I guess my new theory in general is that another shell was there because another creature, injured, potentially near death, but still alive, still able to spike Martin, and still able to be bargained with, was alive in there. I wonder, like, in what, yeah, like, had they managed to sort of, like, because the door is open now, the hatch is open, had they managed to, like, crawl out of the water? And so when Martin, etc., sort of went into the lazarette, they immediately saw the creature, in a very bad state, and placid enough that Martin gets spiked, but they could be bargained with and then moved. And so I don't know what that says about where the shell was. Maybe it is just that the shell was with the creature. The shell was with the creature, but they momentarily, like one of them, like maybe the steward or Davy, reached out and took the shell, and then Martin was like, no, give it to her. I don't know. I guess that doesn't really make... Like, is the giving of the shell... Did they already have the shell? Because then the giving back of the shell itself doesn't really form a huge bargain for the creature itself. Is it simply like letting them out and imploring them, saying like, here is a small act of I don't know, generosity or mercy or something like that, please take away the Kraken. I don't know, and I do think that, to whatever degree those creatures actually did do that, it was immensely generous of them, because they owed I feel like they owed these people nothing. Like, these people only took from them, they felt like they took the shells. The shells were actually brought on board by other people, but as far as the sea creatures are concerned, the shells were taken from them. Many of them were murdered, and then they were captured and kept on the ship along with 3 of their shells. So I don't think the sea creatures owed anyone on the ship anything, basically. So very generous of them to actually get rid of the Kraken. Now, so that's something I was thinking. The other thing I was thinking, and this is still a little bit of a question for me, so I'm curious about what you guys think, or if anyone else has any other thoughts on this. What Martin says in that bargain is, he says something like, stay this ship home, or please, get this ship home. Now, do you guys interpret that as part of, as the fact that, here's my big question. Since I'm asking questions, here's my big question. What's this thing I've been interested in since the very beginning of the game? So, is it because... Alright, so this raises a few questions all at once, right? Do you interpret that the ship has been brought back by the creatures as part of the bargain, because Martin asked them to do so, and they did so. Now, if that's the case, why did they do it 5 years later? Why did they do it 5 years later? Was there a change in sea creature governance at some point, and the original leaders were like, no, this ship stays in the middle of the ocean, or actually maybe we'll, hide it with magic. Maybe it went to Squid Love Island. Maybe the ship, got transported there. And so that, good old Omid could see his friends or something like that. Either way, why 5 years late? If they were the ones who brought it back, why 5 years later? Now, this raises a related question, which is, what is this? For a long time, I was kind of like, because we were learning this story bit by bit, as it's being revealed, I'm like, it must be a shell. Oh, like they're suggesting that the captain threw shells overboard. That's what this must be. However, like what has occurred to me since, and certainly with everything that we've learned, why would it be here? Like, all of that stuff occurred. Let's look. The Doom is where the captain would have taken 2 of the shells down in the lazarette and presumably thrown them overboard. So I would expect 2 shells to be here, though, you know, but that's only if they remain untouched. Probably the sea creatures come and get them, and they go off to Squid Love Island. Then the 3rd shell is found, also still in the Doom, given back to one of the creatures, so the same case remains. So if it's a shell, it can't be a thrown overboard shell. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all, because it should be somewhere here. I don't know if it's the exact same port that it's come back to, but, you know, probably. So instead, to me, the interpretation then is actually this is one of the creatures, and that this is likely, I don't know if this is wild. I don't know if this is a wild Rebecca theory, everybody, but this is what makes sense to me, that this is actually one of the creatures with a shell on their back or whatever, as we've seen them, and this is the creature that has brought the ship back. To me, that's the only thing that makes sense. Why are they hanging out there? Like, just watching on? I don't know. And am I way off? What's your interpretation of this? I always thought we were going to get an explanation for it. But maybe I've just sort of misinterpreted. Anyway, so that's something that I thought was really cool. A lot of people, you know, if we go back to things that I've missed, obviously a lot of people have pointed out that I totally missed the dynamic of the blurring, you know, the blurring and the unblurring of the faces. Totally. Yeah, I really just kind of like didn't think much about that, and then essentially forgot it for the rest of the playthrough. But I will say that's in part, I mean, I straight up forgot it, but I will say it's in part because I wasn't too concerned about it. I was too excited with everything that was occurring. I was just really, really excited with the unfolding of the story, and with, you know, like looking about in the environments and thinking about who people were. And that's 100% my main focus. And it really only much later became, a bit more of a bigger focus to be sort of trying to pull apart, like how I was tackling, you know, ideas of, I mean, you know, like bit by bit it became a bigger focus, I guess I should say. It gradually became a bigger focus to pull apart like the approaches to evidence and things like that. But also, it's also because I knew that you could go into this game in different ways. Like, it became very obvious very early on that you could be someone who is happy making guesses, and that's 100% fine. 100% fine. Everyone is allowed to play and experience a game exactly the way that they want to, you know? Like, that's totally fine. It's not how I wanted to do it, and you guys have seen the results of how I wanted to do it, and I'm sure it's different to how a lot of other people tackled it as well. At the same time, I suppose another context for this is I'm putting out episodes of a Let's Play, so I am trying to, I was absolutely playing this exactly the way that I wanted to, but for example, I didn't want to do it anyway, but I wouldn't have wanted to go through like all of the memories really quickly, and I can imagine that maybe somebody does that and then they do all of the figuring out afterwards, right? I wouldn't have wanted to do that because that's going to make some very boring episodes. Like, it's obviously much better for putting out, you know, episodes of a Let's Play steadily to be getting, you know, like more story reveals as we go, and that was much more fun for me as well. So, you know, that's absolutely the way that I wanted to do it. But to go back to my original point, you could absolutely, everyone has the ability in this game, and it's one of the things that's really marvelous about this game, to choose what their level of comfort is with assumptions, with evidence, and with all of the complex ranges within of that, you know? So, yeah. So, there's that. Anyway, I think one last thing that somebody told me about, and we're gonna see together if this is the thing. This is also Descending. Descending told me that they had heard that some of the hanging lanterns in the ship can be turned on and off. So let's see. Maybe in present or maybe in memories. Let's find a lantern. The lanterns are some of the loveliest things. I don't know how this would work. You would think it would probably be in the present rather than the memories, because in the memories we can't change things, you know. In the present we can open doors and things. Alright, maybe not these ones. Let's... Do we see another type of lantern? Also, I could be doing this in the wrong way. It could be possible, and I just don't know how to do it. Let's go down a deck. What about in... Are there any lanterns that are on in rooms? The lanterns definitely made an impression on me though, because like the lighting is done so well and is incredibly atmospheric. Constantly stepping over those two. Sorry everybody. Maybe they can be, but I don't know how to do it. Let's check. Person, do you have any lanterns? Is there a mechanism for the lantern? Look how openable that looks. Drives me crazy. There's so many things in this that look like... Put your little hand out, insurance guy. Come on. You got it. Use it. Use your hand. Can't do it. Sorry, I'm choking. Alright, it might be possible, but... Okay, I just did a quick Google, and I don't know, I still could be wrong about this, but I think what it might be in regards to is the same way that doors get magically opened by our pocket watch. It seems like in places where, in memories where the lanterns would have been off, the lanterns themselves are magically lit during those memories. That could be what it is, but we, as far as I can tell, with like 5 seconds of Googling, I don't think that we can turn them on or off, but that did lead me to a very interesting bit of trivia that I didn't know. I wasn't consciously thinking about at all. So that's super cool. That's super cool. Yeah. I think... Oh, I had one other thing that I wanted to tell you. This didn't come from the comments, but this is what I looked up when the playthrough ended because I was so intensely interested in it. Or rather, I didn't look it up at first. I was looking back at the memory where... I was looking back at the characters that that Bang uses for Lim that I talked about in the playthrough. And it suddenly clicked that the second character, the first character is, my knowledge comes from Japanese, not from, any Chinese variants. But the first character I recognize as meaning small. The second character finally clicked for me that it is the character that's used in the kanji for older sister. And so I had a go at listening to what he was saying and trying to find, it took me a few goes to sort of... try different versions of it, but I can't remember what it is. I don't have it in front of me anymore, but I think I did confirm for myself that he is saying sister. He's saying I think older sister or something like that. And so that was an amazing discovery for me. I was so thrilled to find out they're brother and sister. And I gotta say, somehow I can't really explain it. Somehow it just made that relationship a bit sweeter. I don't know how to explain it, but that it did. I really, really liked finding that out. That was really nice. I liked that one. Oh, I also wanted to mention that people told me about a couple of the other endings that you can have. And of course, well, not of course. So you can have a worse ending where you solve a very small number of fates. And it's amazing to me that apparently in the letter that you get, they say that was the reason that Henry died. That's incredible. That's worth having the ending. But also somebody mentioned that there's an achievement that you can get where you can blame the captain for every death, which is also so amazing. The poor captain. Poor grieving captain whose ship has, you know, whose voyage and career has not gone where he expected. Oh boy. So apparently you can blame him for every death on the ship, which is a hilarious inclusion. So thank you so much for letting me know about that. Yeah, I think I'm just looking at my notes because I wrote a few very scribbly notes. All right, I'm just going to tell you some more questions that I have. So, you know, the thing of real interest to me in this game is the story. I'm so crazy interested in this brilliant story. And so the things I'm, you know, it's funny, like most of the comments that people made were about like the mechanics of the problem solving. That was absolutely, you know, like, of course I'm very interested in that. That's one of the super cool, amazing things about this game. I did love it. But like, my heart is in the story. My heart is in the lore. And so I've definitely finished with all of these questions. And that's fine, because a good story that you get into should leave you with questions. So this is, you know, there's zero criticism here at all. It's only admiration for the incredible storytelling here. But I did write down some questions I have. Some of them I've already asked. But why Henry got a magic watch? Why Henry got this magic watch? What's going on there? I might have a bit of an idea about this. I haven't looked this up. This is literally based on a comment that 1, 2, Free for All left, so thank you very much for this, where they said Lucas Pope originally planned to do multiple games in the series and they'd each become a book on the shelf. That makes so much sense on so many levels. I haven't looked into this yet, but that makes a few things make sense. I was wondering what the items on the shelf are at the beginning of the game, because between the two endings there are more items on the shelf in like the good ending. I'm so glad I saw both of them, by the way. So glad. Like that's just getting to experience more game. So for me that was a very happy accident. And by the way, for the people who can't believe that I made that mistake, I guess what you've got to imagine is, first off, I'm me, and this is a blind playthrough, and I'm going to make mistakes. But also, you've got to imagine, I don't know how quickly a person playing by themselves would get through this game. But I guess you've got to remember that I've been playing this game for 2.5 months. 2.5 months since I first started this. And that is something I saw at the beginning and really, you know, probably almost never went back to in any, the first page in the book, right? Probably almost never went back to. So I just kind of had an assumption, and that assumption about the way that this all works came from the very beginning of my experience with this game, when I knew nothing, and I was experiencing every single aspect of it bit by bit for the first time, sometimes not even bit by bit, sometimes kind of all at once, and it was incredible. It was an amazing experience. But you know, that does mean obviously it's very easy to not get a hold on everything that's said to you at the beginning of the game, which kind of goes for the blurring of the faces and things like that as well. I was really just experiencing the game as I was experiencing it, and just focusing on having a really great time. So yeah, I imagine like other people have said this is probably, you know, if you play this by yourself and you're not constantly talking to an audience and you're not filming 1-hour episodes and putting them out once every 3 days, you probably get through this game in like 10 hours, 14 hours, something like that. Maybe even less if you're, you know, like if you're doing things a bit quicker. But you know, for me, this has been 25 hours spaced out over 2.5 months while I'm doing other things and while I'm playing other games. So this, you know, there was no, it was very easy to lose track of the things I was told once, you know, at the beginning of the game, and didn't really revisit because I was busy seeing like crustacean spiders and you know, squid and finding out about magic shells, and yeah, so all of that, you know, has completely captured my imagination. So why Henry got this magic watch? It may very well be because of what 1, 2, Free for All said. Maybe, you know, again, I haven't looked this up. You can probably just confirm this again with a 5-second Google, but I'm just letting you know my thinking now. I could imagine very easily that actually it it would sort of make sense to me if the plan was for Henry to be in multiple games. And Henry, maybe in another game that is set prior to this game, even gets this magic pocket watch. Because he's a surgeon, he's a doctor, and he would be dealing with death a lot, right? So as a character, there's a ton of material there. Like there's a really amazing foundation for all kinds of stories. You know, he could essentially, rather than simply being Henry Evans, a character in a one-off game like Obra Dinn, he could be the lead in a series of games that are about the Amazo Doctor with the magic pocket watch, the magic death pocket watch. So that's really interesting. And yeah, it probably also explains what the things on the shelf are when we put that book there, because I didn't recognize them at all. There's one thing is like a diamond. So maybe there were other games where like something very, you get a big diamond, or there's a big diamond at the center of it. It's just really, really, really cool. That might be an answer to that question. Another question I've written down, and I don't think there's any answer to this, but I'm curious about what you guys think. I'm curious about your interpretation. Why did the foremost royalty on this ship have these shells that they know a lot about and they know are incredibly dangerous? And in fact, Chiotan says to us they need to be protected. So why they got them? Why are they transporting them? Why are they not returning them to the ocean is kind of my bigger question. Why not? Why not just chuck them into the ocean and run away, right? Why not go, hey, have this back, leave us alone, and throw it into the ocean? I'm curious about that. Like, is it... Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how other people interpret that. I've talked about my question about the sparkle in the water, and that I think it's a mer person who brought the ship back, but I don't know why they brought it back 5 years later. Here's another question. I'm really, really curious about your interpretation of this, because this is quite a core part to the story, right? Why did Bang and Philip need to reach into the chest to get the shell? For most of the game, I just thought, like, look, there's a drawer there. We literally see the shell, in multiple memories as that drawer is open, and yet somehow it seems like it's inaccessible. Does it have locked glass on top of it? Is it like you can look at the shell, but you cannot get at the shell? And let me tell you, if that's an option, if the shell is sitting there encased in glass, wouldn't you rather smash the glass to get to the shell than to stick your hand into whatever... I mean, Philip called it quicksilver, but like, really? Like, surely it's got to be some other magic stuff. I don't, like... Does quicksilver burn your hand off, your entire arm off in seconds? Like, I know mercury poisoning. Does it do that? Would it do that? I don't know. So let's assume it's a magic substance. Is the glass also a magic substance? Like, if you're faced with a choice between like using some way to smash into a drawer to get a shell, or to destroy your own arm instantly by reaching in... I don't know what the explanation for that is, but can you see what I'm getting at here? Like, I'm left with a big question there. I also find it interesting, because I was looking back at these memories. Bang, in his memory, is at the moment, seemingly, when he is reaching, because he says, I have it. He says, I have it, when he must have a hold of the shell. I wasn't sure in that moment that he was talking about the shell, but I pretty much am now. He says, I have it, but he doesn't express any pain at that moment in his voice. I found that very interesting, because Philip sure as hell does. When Philip reaches in, he's making all kinds of sounds that he's in terrible, terrible pain, and he can barely speak afterwards except to express, like, my God, and then he dies. The same thing happens to both of them, but Bang doesn't sound like he's in any pain at all. Is that simply because Bang is just such an incredible badass, like a magical level of badass, that he's not bothered, even while it's killing him and destroying his arm immediately? He's not bothered by that. He certainly sounds like he's in pain when he's dying, when he's trying to speak to his sister. Oh, how sad. So anyway, so that's another question. I'm really curious about your interpretation on that one. Yeah, what's the relationship? What do you see as the relationship or the story of Emily and Paul? I'd love to hear it. This is a little one. I'm curious, can you tell who is cheating at cards in the card game? Because to me it sounds like the setup for being able to identify somebody. Obviously we did manage to find evidence to identify the Russians, but I'm curious if you can use the cheating comment to do it. I couldn't figure out a way to do it, but I'm curious if that is the case. Okay. With that, I'm gonna leave you. I'm just gonna leave you with a couple of just my big thoughts on my love for this game, right? And I've said it before, but first off, this game, and this is what I was originally interested in this game for when all I could see was the image of it, right? This game is truly an excellent love letter to the old games of, my childhood era. It's so wonderfully perfect for that. Let's look here, because I think it just this is the first thing you see when you kind of when you arrive on the ship, and it's just magical. So I'm not going to go on about that because I've said it in many times. I just need to underline that point. So well done. And it does a beautiful job with interpreting the nostalgia into a game form, that you could only do nowadays. And it marries them expertly. So, hugely impressed by that. But the thing that I really just have to praise here, and the thing that has meant the most to me, is that for me this game is about storytelling. It's such an incredible approach to storytelling. It's such an incredible form of storytelling. It's all of these things at once, but in addition to that, the actual stories itself, the character creation, the way it displays and develops relationships, the way that you learn about people, the way that it so deftly and elegantly finds ways in really diverse and often very, very subtle, sometimes very unsubtle, which is also great, but sometimes beautifully subtle ways. It makes you care about these characters, and it puts you in the position I'm sitting here right now which is I desperately want to know more about them, but I also don't want to. I love that. This is the other thing, it's a mastery. So this game is a mastery of staged reveals, and you're at each stage of the reveal. Not only are they amazing, incredible scenes, but it's also that the reveals, you're always on tenterhooks. You're always on the edge of your seat. So excited to see what comes next, and thinking and wondering about what's going to happen. And that is kept up from start to finish, consistently through the entire game. It is masterful storytelling. It is it builds this whole game builds an experience for you. It builds a space-time. The first time you play this game, I can't imagine what a second playthrough might be like, but I'm sure the first time of playing this game is the experience, right? It builds a beautiful space-time dimension for you to have all of this wonderment as you are exploring these environments to try and understand the story more. It's so well done, and again, it just doesn't miss a beat. It's exciting the entire way through. But I also really, on the flip side, I also really admire the discipline that Lucas has shown, the discipline that's on display here in this game, of leaving out information. And leaving me with these big questions at the end is all part of that, but also in lots of other ways. All of the information that is left out is equally as impressive as the information that we're given. It's extremely well balanced, and it's all part of how effective the storytelling is. And yeah, to finish a game like this with all of these questions is it's quite frankly, it's a gift. It's a gift of masterful storytelling to have so many questions because you're so engaged, because you have come to be so interested in every aspect of it. And that is exactly what this game has delivered for me. And I could say so many amazing things, like the music, the visuals, you know, it's all well done. We all know this, but I really wanted to just like cross a big underline under that point. Like, this is the thing I'm leaving the most impressed with. Like, of course, the whole detective dynamic is excellent, and I can't wait to play that in another game, and I hope other games are made with this because it works really well. It basically should be the beginning of a genre. It should be the beginning of a genre. Like, it deserves it. It's great. But anyway, I had such a good time. Thank you so much for coming with me on this journey, everybody. I'm going to leave you here. I've been going on for a really long time, but like, I've had so many meaningful, amazing moments on this game, and I am so grateful for you guys in coming on this voyage with me. You may have seen by now I've put out a channel announcement. If you're watching currently, the next game that's going to follow this, so, you know, 3 days after this episode is released, we're going to have a new game series in the same time slot that is going to be, or, you know, in the same date slot, I mean, Tunic. I'm very excited about it. Very excited. I hope if that is your kind of game, I hope you're excited about it too. There is a lot of excitement about this game, which just makes me even more excited. Of course, if you're watching this playthrough in the future, you know, and thank you for coming along on this journey with me as well. Tunic will already be available in its entirety, most likely, you know, on the channel, depending on when you're coming into it. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in another playthrough. If you've enjoyed this series, of course, a like for the video, a subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed, and, you know, comments. You can kind of go crazy now, but like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I'll see you in another playthrough, everyone. Bye-bye.